Good morning. This is Kathleen Clow with a Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, July 20th, 2025. The fire potential impacts across the next few days include gusty winds and low to moderate RH across Idaho, western Wyoming, and the Sierra Front today. These areas of gusty winds and moderate to low RH expand on Monday to include a larger section of western Nevada, eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and the Utah-Nevada border. A mix of wet and dry thunderstorms are possible across central Utah and northwestern Idaho on Monday as well. For Tuesday, storm coverage will increase across most of central Idaho with a continued risk for gusty winds and low RH along the Sierra Front and central border of Nevada and Utah. The past 24 hours shows scattered areas of precipitation from yesterday's line of storms, with Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, and the Arizona Strip receiving about a quarter of an inch of rain with pockets up to 1 inch, especially in southern Nevada where we saw our heaviest rains. Lightning strikes were concentrated around these areas of precipitation, with the most strikes across southern Nevada, northeastern Utah, and western Wyoming. In the past 24 hours, we had 19 new starts for a total of 8,337.5 acres and a large fire growth of 81 acres. The past 14 days show much of the Great Basin experiencing lower than normal precipitation amounts, except for a few areas in central Idaho, western Wyoming, and Las Vegas. The past 7 days show increased precipitation for these areas due to our most recent line of storms, but overall still dry in the Great Basin. With the past couple days of scattered rain and thunderstorms across the Great Basin, ERC values are trending down across eastern Nevada, Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming. ERC values still remain high across much of northern Nevada, Utah, and central Idaho. Smoke impacts for today mostly include some smoke from those Northern California wildfires and a little bit up in northern Idaho. Smoke impacts for Monday: less activity from those Northern California fires, but more smoke coming out of Oregon and then more smoke in central Idaho. Our satellite loop for this morning shows some scattered clouds across southwestern Utah and some thunderstorms, potentially a little precipitation in eastern Idaho, but mostly clouds just moving through the basin on their way out from yesterday's line of storms. For today, we've issued high-risk triggers for winds along the Sierra Front, as well as a high-risk trigger for wind in eastern Idaho. You can see those pockets of potentially maybe a little scattered precipitation exiting the Great Basin, but also that drier air coming in and those higher winds. You can see our afternoon wind gusts for today are high, that hot pink zone along the Sierra Front, and you can see some potential high winds from the occasional thunderstorm across central Nevada, as well as that larger pocket of high winds across eastern Idaho into western Wyoming. Overall, though, the chance for precipitation today is very low, so not really going to see a lot of rain from any of this. Minimum RHs today, sometimes into the single digits for northern Nevada, but overall pretty low across the Great Basin. Maximum temperatures today is going to be hot, high 90s across most of the basin, 116, 104 down in southern Nevada, and then some mid 80s in our central Idaho, northern central Idaho areas. For tomorrow, Monday, July 21st, we've got continued high risk triggers for wind that have expanded east to cover most of western Nevada, as well as eastern Nevada along the Utah Nevada border. You can see those high winds in the map on our left here, and that dry air coming in as that low pressure system moves across Washington there. Afternoon wind gusts, you can see a lot of hot pink across western Nevada and some pink and orange along the border there, and then some high winds in northern central Idaho as well. Forecast precipitation tomorrow, we could see a line of storms moving across eastern Idaho into western Wyoming, and the potential for some scattered storms across most of Utah as well as the northwestern corner of Nevada. Maximum temperatures on Monday, we've cooled down a little bit, but still in the 90s in northern Nevada, upper 80s in Idaho, a little bit cooler across Utah, and still in the triple digits around Vegas. Minimum RHs are better on Monday due to that rain potential, so you can see some higher values across central Utah. Still single digits in central Nevada, but a little bit of recovery for Utah and Idaho. For Tuesday, July 22nd, we've got no high risk triggers, but most of the Great Basin under moderate risk, with lower risk in those areas that will be receiving rain. You can see as that low pressure system moves to the north of us, bringing in some moisture across central Nevada, as well as some high winds and dry air for some parts of Nevada and Utah. Afternoon wind gusts for Tuesday show some higher pockets of wind along the Sierra front, as well as the Nevada-Utah border and that eastern Idaho, western Wyoming kind of area. Minimum RHs trend up a little bit today across most of Nevada with that moisture being pulled in that we saw in the previous slide, but still very dry in southern Nevada. Teens and 20s across most of Utah and Idaho as well. Our 3-day precipitation accumulation shows spotty precip across the Great Basin with the potential for up to 1/10 of an inch of rain across central Nevada, central Utah, western Wyoming, and southern Idaho, but overall, not a lot of wetting rain and still dry. Significant fire potential for Wednesday shows moderate risk across Nevada and Utah, but low risk across Idaho and western Wyoming. This is due to some moisture moving through the area. You can see those pockets of green on the left here, and with that larger pocket across central Idaho, but also some winds and dry air with this as well. On Thursday, almost all of the Great Basin is at a moderate risk due to this low pressure system moving through, bringing some scattered storms, but mostly very dry air over Utah and some higher winds as well. That moderate risk persists into Friday, with some low risk for those areas of Nevada and Idaho that might see some precipitation on Thursday and Friday. But overall, dry and breezy. You can see that dry air coming into the basin, not as dry as Thursday, though, for Utah. On Saturday, that significant fire potential remains the same across the Great Basin. You can see the potential for some isolated storms along the Nevada-Idaho border, as well as some dry air and potentially gustier winds across central Idaho and northern Nevada. You can also see this deep pocket of dry air in red coming north into the Vegas Strip area, Arizona Strip area, and making its way towards the rest of the basin. The next 7 days of precipitation show that same spotty precip we saw in the 3-day. So overall, not a lot of rain coming in for the Great Basin. Some scattered things here and there, but maybe up to 1/10 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch along the Utah-Wyoming border. But again, still dry for the Great Basin. The next 8 to 14 days show the chance for above normal temperatures and near normal precipitation for the Great Basin, with the highest chance for above normal temperatures across eastern Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming. That concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.